Is this just about a prime minister's tweet or a prime minister's Instagram post which has upset the government? What exactly does the government want from Meta?
But actually, there has been no effort till today made on trying to rein in Meta, and Meta has not been reined in anywhere on the face of this earth. So that is also a reality.
You cannot play with Indian laws. You cannot play with innocent lives of Indian where so many crimes are committed at your place.
Hello and welcome. You're watching me, Sanket Upadhyay, on The Federal. The show is called AI with Sanket. This is the AI of news because news in India today requires not artificial but analytical intelligence. And speaking of AI and technology, there is one big technology giant which is in the news in this country, and that is Meta. Yes, the same company that got us Facebook. It owns Instagram, it owns WhatsApp, and what have you. And it is on the wrong side of the Indian government right now. If you read the newspapers and the headlines, you would get an impression that the government is really miffed and upset with Meta cancelling or removing the Prime Minister's Instagram post. And thus, an entire team came here, they were questioned, and subsequently they have apologized. But the government feels that they need something more than an apology, which then begs a very different sort of a question and an answer. Is this just about a prime minister's tweet or a prime minister's Instagram post which has upset the government? What exactly does the government want from Meta? We know that the recently held Cockroach Janata Party protest was largely Instagram fueled. Could this be an attempt by the government to rein Instagram in so that it is not used for launching a protest against the government? And what really is the idea? What are the pros and cons? Can you do that to technology? Let's put that to a discussion. I have with me Mr. Sanjay Sahay, member of the Cybersecurity Expert Committee of the UGC, founder and director of TechConPro Private Limited. He was the former advisor to the Maharashtra Cybersecurity Program. Thank you very much, Mr. Sahay, for joining us. We also have Khushbu Jain, cyber law expert and advocate in the Supreme Court. Thank you very much to the two of you. Mr. Sanjay Sahay, I want to begin with you first. This run-in that Meta seems to have with the government, how do you look at this?
I think the current run-in which you are talking about is primarily related to Mr. Modi's post, and that is where the whole thing emanated. In the backdrop, if there is Cockroach Janata Party, we are also aware of what all transpired on Insta, and most of it transpired on Insta. And Mr. Modi also moved on to Insta, might be because of similar reasons. Now, if we leave this aside, Meta has been basically flouting all the rules. And that is not only in India, across the globe, they have been flouting rules. They have 9,000 backlog of grievances, which they don't agree to, and they claim that only 100 is pending. With regards to the safe harbor, I think what is in consideration and what is in challenge is the safe harbor status which they have under Section 79, one of the IT Act, which can be primarily be removed, and the consequences they will have to face under 79(3) of the IT Act, where they will be treated as any other publisher, and any law which is applicable on a publisher will also operate on them. So this is broadly where we are, but in the manner in which government is approaching this whole issue is that you apologize in 3 days' time, otherwise we will take action, which primarily means that the contravention of law is immaterial, but what is material is that these people come back and they're sorry. The issue with Meta has been multifarious all across the globe, and they have been trying to ride roughshod in most of the geographies around the world. And today it has come to India. The only way we can put these people on the mat is to go through the proper process of law, which also means that after giving a notice or a notification, someone or whatever the legal criteria under Section 79, you wait for them to actually take action. In this, the action has already been taken. So the legal cause of action, I don't think there is much which remains as the legal cause of action, notwithstanding large number of other issues which come between the legal supervision, monitoring, and the operations of Meta in this country and beyond.
Khushbu Jain, just quickly coming to you. You see, as Mr. Sahay also mentioned, that while the instant trigger may be the taking down of the Prime Minister's post, which Meta says is an execution error, which is an error on their part, and they apologize. Clearly, I don't think that taking down or making one post invisible would invite this sort of a response. There is clearly a bit of history to Instagram and following of norms. But the unfortunate part here is that we saw a recent protest which was fueled on Instagram. Fueled may be a bad word, which was propelled on Instagram. Now, when the government exercises greater might over a tech giant, is it with the intention to rein that tech giant in, or is it with the intention to silence anyone else who may be using this platform, which may be uncomfortable for the government?
I think let's understand this and let's go step by step into it and let's see the history. Facebook, Meta owns Facebook or Instagram for that matter. Both of them have become a breeding ground for criminals. When you see illegal activities happening on these platforms, it's not one, two, or three. The numbers is countless. The kind of illegal activity includes child sexual abusive material. And this was something which came out in the BBC report also recently that all of us looked into, after which the ministry, the Indian government, practically asked them to respond on that part. It is not just that, it is also that these content which has been found on their platform is not something which you and me, a user, has put across. Because that's one side of it where they enjoy the safe harbor protection. The larger question that comes is their majority of the majority of the earning of the Meta comes out not from anything else but from paid promotions. And now these paid promotions under the garb of that safe harbor protection also gets protected. And I think that's where the bigger issue is coming across, and that's where I think government is wanting to, despite bringing in so many laws in place, right from 2021, the 2023 amendment in the IT Act, the policies, the regulations, the IT regulations that are keep on amending, the reservation on part of these platforms to comply, the 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 act on these platforms to act mighty over our own constitution or our own laws is something which is inviting not just Indian government, but I think government across globe to question them, to answer them, and to get clarity that you cannot become a place of lawlessness. You need to bring in transparency. You need to be held accountable. And for that accountability part, I think the bigger question, apart from the apology that we are asking for, should not be this. The bigger question should be let them open for audit part of it. They talk about transparency report. They have been very vocal. See, Sanket, you will also agree that Meta has been very vocal in speaking that, you silence our speech by asking us to take down some content as a government. This is not right. This is users' privacy or users' freedom of speech and expression is being silenced by that. And they do generate a report as well. The so-called transparency report of Facebook and Instagram. Let's look into the transparency report. They say Indian government has been one of the highest in requesting for content takedown. But that transparency report does not give the number with respect to the paid content, the paid promotion, which involves illegal content which has been promoted on their platform. When you talk about paid content, it has to be treated very separately. It can't be that you and me have put across, and when they get the knowledge about it is where they have high standards to take down that content, and they do not promote csam or any illegal content. This is something you're part and parcel of the crime. And I think this is where Indian government is trying to bring them that yes, we are one of the largest user base of yours. You cannot play with Indian laws. You cannot play with innocent lives of Indian where so many crimes are committed at your place is where we want you to answer. We want to bring in accountability. And I think that's where they're asking questions. They're also asking questions with respect to CSAM. This entire episode which is happening, though the highlight is PM Modi's video, but on garb of it, if you see the content itself, also the questions which are posed across is not just restricted to the takedown content of PM Modi, but it also talks about the CSAM material and what about the paid promotion part of it. Also, this PM Modi's video Sanket also practically tells that when you call yourself just a passive intermediary, you say that you ask us to silent. This is not right. You should not take away users' right. How can you yourself practically take down a content or a video of a prime minister? You call it technical glitch. Is there a way to explain what you mean by that technical glitch? And if that technical glitch can happen, and or that excuse can happen for a PM Modi's video, imagine you, me, and our videos and our our rights on those platforms. So I think it's a right time for Indian government to step in, though they should have done it long back to tighten that part. But I think it's a welcome move to question them so that they answer. And this place, I'm not asking that you take away rights of people to speak or scare them, but to bring in that transparency which leads to accountability at the future.
Mr. Sanjay Sahay, just coming back to you, you see, rather than this becoming an issue of ego massage, that how dare you take down the post and explain the nature of the error that happened at your end, technology. Now, it's a tech company. It'll produce 10,000 ways of how there was a technological glitch. Do you think that there has to be a de-hyphenation of a serious issue of uh, lack of accountability on the part of a company like Meta and something I would say as frivolous as an error in taking down the Prime Minister's post? These are two totally different things. If
We will
Facebook is
start
not being
with.
reined in, if they are being notorious about it, that's a separate matter from the Prime Minister's post takedown.
See, primarily what the government of India is trying, and through the Prime Minister post and this whole imbroglio which has emanated out of it, is to prove that they are in control of power and they can push Meta into saying sorry, apologizing, and they should look bigger than Meta. But actually, there has been no effort till today made on trying to rein in Meta, and Meta has not been reined in anywhere on the face of this earth. So that is also a reality. And we can start it from Brexit and Cambridge Analytica. I think all of you would have heard about it. And what finally happened to it, they had given a clear-cut answer that Cambridge Analytica has not interacted with them, and that whole technologically enabled group of people were not being thrown with material which could literally change their minds, and they were able to get away with that. Now coming to the particular issue, now the issue is there everywhere. Now, if you take another example, while I come to the main child pornography and paid promotion and all that, if Meta really gets into his civil society community guidelines, how many of the political posts need to be brought down? That is a very big challenge. It is a false post. There are contradictions. There is something else happening. So there's huge amount of things which are happening on Meta or any of these platforms, which is being done in a deliberate manner and is being done for ulterior motives by troll armies and variety of other things. So while you are doing all that, it becomes extremely difficult for you to apply your mind and heart and try and rein in Meta. Because one thing, let's be very, very clear about it, and I've been talking about it for a long, long time, that the black box technology which they run, till today nobody has been able to basically audit it. They have not, they will never open their algorithm. It happened with Apple, leave aside social media companies, and it went in a court of law, and finally it was not cracked. And after that, they came up with this company called Cellbrite US. It was i5, and through a court order, they tried to open. Apple did not, and the US government did not go in for appeal. Through Cellbrite, they got a script, opened it, and somebody hacked into Cellbrite. So it is a huge, messy sort of a system which is running, where laws of individual countries, they matter very little. So that is broadly where we stand. Till the day the governments and the regulators don't have the capability to audit the algorithm, you'll not be able to do anything. That is where we stand.
And Khushbu Jain, for these big tech companies, their algorithm is everything. Their algorithm is their gold mine. It is that golden egg. And why would they give it to any government? But having said that, you see, as the same question that I asked of Mr. Sahay, I'm asking to you. Do you feel that we need to dehyphenate and separate these two topics of discussion? A takedown of the Prime Minister's post is different from Facebook not agreeing or not conforming to a country's guidelines. These are two totally different things. Because then, there'll be this whole argument. Arvind Kejriwal's post has also been taken down on Instagram. There are a whole host of other posts that are taken down by the government on frivolous grounds on Instagram, just because uh, it does not present the government in a good light. So, keeping this frivolous argument aside, how serious is this argument of Meta not being reined in? And can we practically do it?
I think, okay, we can separate it, but see, they are all interlinked because they come from one single point that they do not want to comply with laws, and at the same time, they want to continue running things for their own business, their own profits. And that's something which is visible from both the sides. Both the sides, as in, what was the glitch? How can a glitch happen? See, if you have done something, absolutely fine. You can take down the content or a video of a prime minister, or let's say for Arvind Kejriwal, or for that matter, yours and mine. But there has to be a justification behind that, right? And this is what I'm talking. That when it comes to justification is where they disappear. You cannot make an excuse technical glitch and just be quiet because the repercussions of taking down that content had been big, had been huge, and the timing of it, everything plays a very important role. So this practically shows, this actually clearly gives, and I agree with you that algorithm is something which is everything for them, bread and butter. But when you push a content for your profit motive, when you make a content disappear for your profit motive, when you do things which is for your profit motive, and that that all those doing is okay for any business to do it. But if that takes away the right of people, is where I think you need to stand and you need to answer. You cannot escape, oh, let me just say technical glitch. Let me just say error. Let me just say some issues happened. Let there be a clarity. Put across why did you take down instead of technical glitch. Let there be a clarity. Who took it down, under what guard, what was the reasoning behind that, and take it down. Absolutely fine. And this is not the first time they have taken uh, uh, Twitter, the erstwhile X, also took down the US president's handle. I am just saying, let there be a clarity, transparency, and let that clarity and transparency and let those standards be similar for everybody if you have those standards. You cannot pick and choose that, oh, today I will say to the government of India that I can't comply because I want users' privacy and users' freedom of speech. And tomorrow you yourself take down some content and say, oh, no, my internal policy doesn't allow. I do not believe into this. We don't want this. We don't want that. So you cannot pick and choose and say that, oh, I want this also and that also, and you start running. And if you're this and that, practically negates or comes in the part where my rights, my laws are being infringed upon in a country. So if you're earning out of it, you're doing the business, why not be transparent on that part? Why not comply with the country's law? And coming on that, you will also see from their behavior pattern. Behavior pattern as in February 2026, there is a judgment by a Delaware court. In that judgment, they were talking about, or they made an inference in that specific court where Meta is involved, where they said the insurance coverage is there. But when it comes to child safety, when it comes to child related posts, somewhere that insurance claim, insurance coverage do not cover that part of Meta. That shows that why that everything else is covered by the insurance, that specific part is left over. I'm not making any direct accusation on the company, but all I'm saying is that shows that somewhere maybe internally their algorithms do talk about that they want to push content to child. They don't have things in place which practically can be covered under the insurance. I'm just making an inference out of it. It's a public document of 2026 judgment by the Delaware court where that observation is made across, and I'm making an inference out of it. And let's forget about that part as well. We are seeing today that how much content is put across, and it is Meta's own saying that we do not approve, we do not allow any kind of illegal content, and csam is one of the topmost. I'm again and again speaking csam because that's something which we don't have a fight between them and us, that whether it is an illegal content or not. But at the same time, paid promotion, the numbers are very much clear. Look at the BBC report. Look at the questions that has been posed by Home Ministry to them with respect to the data. That the content is still available. It's not that it's not there today also. So when you're earning from paid promotions, again, I'm repeating this again and again, this is something which is not a content. This is something where these paid advertisements were used. Advertisements such as rape video or child video, directing them to even Telegram channels or other channels where abusive material was allegedly offered after that in as little money as 99 rupees, Sanket. when you're providing such things, this is not simply a case of uploading unlawful, material somewhere on the internet. These were alleged paid ads. These were materials that entered Meta's commercial system, passed through its review architecture, was delivered to the users, and they need to answer from which Meta's advertising business they
Okay.
derive this revenue. I think this clarity has to come. And if you look into one more point, Meta's own report says, the revenue report of 2025, nearly 98% of Meta's revenue comes from advertisement. And when they approve these illegal advertisements and distribute it, I think the question is not about moderation. The question is not about being very straightforward, or we are trying to arm twist them. I think it is the time that they need to answer, and by hook or crook, we need to make them answer and be auditable.
Mr. Sanjay Sahay, two parts to my next question, which is going to be the final question. We have seen that these tech companies, when they don't want to do something, they would make even the best of legislation across the world fail. For instance, child ban of social media has faced serious problems in Australia and other countries where it has been imposed, right? So, technology and its nature is such that it's not very effective. Number two, is this problem peculiar to only Instagram or Meta, or are other tech giants equally guilty of doing the same thing? After all of them are for profit companies. They all mine data, they all are, data is their oil. So, in your experience, what would be a parallel to what Meta is doing, or is this really the biggest problem child?
See, actually, Meta is controlling the most of the social media apparatus, and with Insta and WhatsApp, doing the nature of client shape or viewership or user following. I think it controls the narrative of the world in a big way. So Meta might not be different from, say, even YouTube or any other social media, but certainly the scale at which it operates, I think, is of a totally different type, and the nature of data which it controls. So it is unassailable data which is giving this particular company a power, a nature of power, which it is able to bulldoze nearly anybody and everybody. The congressional hearing in the US on variety of things, inclusive of couple of things which we are talking about. So they took Meta to the corner and they literally told them that this is what you have been doing, and it was nearly proven in the congressional hearing. Then they were let scot-free. Your Meta CEO, so he did not appear for the UK parliamentary hearing. And we are talking about precision and all that. My own understanding is, to best of my knowledge, is that the scale at which these algorithms operate, dealing 182, 192 countries, different legislations to the nature of precision and rights and privileges which we are talking about, I personally feel it's still an undoable act. And the type of people who operate their public policy and community guidelines, I don't think many of them are either interested or they have the capability and the expertise to fulfill those guidelines across the face of the earth. Their community guidelines primarily, in reality, supersede laws of every single country. And wherever they are forced, and sometimes they are forced because there are a couple of issues which government of US is able to push right to their servers and data centers. So there these things happen. Otherwise, it does not happen. So that is where we are, and it is a very long lost sort of a battle. Now we are talking about you're not listening to our laws, you're not complying to this. What they say is a technical glitch. Now the technical glitch, you can go 2 years together and you will not be able to find out, and they will keep replying. I think at some point in time they had taken some very senior retired or former minister from UK to take care of their public policy and connected guidelines. As of now, we have lost privacy to these guys. As of now, they dictate. I'll give you a very simple example. I write a post every day. And I think day for yesterday was the 3600th post. It is a blog. And my number was blocked last year by Meta. And after 6 hours or something review, they opened. Second time again it happened. Third time it happened. I tried my level best. The phone number was not cleared. I tried here, I tried in the US. Finally, I took a different number. So this is broadly where it stands. Prime Minister Modi is in a position where they can influence and they can do a couple of things. Now the post has been brought down. There's a very clear-cut, what do you say, a guideline, community guideline. Anything which is very violent will not appear on Facebook. And that also Facebook Live. There was an incident in Christchurch where an extremist, right-wing extremist killed around 45 people or something. That 13-minute video was streamed live on Facebook. So this is where we stand. Our capability of understanding their algorithm, I think still we are way off. The second part is the social media is anti-social media. You can watch the documentary on it. And third is, as long as the FOMO remains and as long as the main mode of our communication remains social media, and the social media being very clear about not dealing with the political post at all, I think they will be able to ride roughshod.
All right, Mr. Sanjay Sahay as well as Khushbu Jain, thank you very much for joining us. Learned a lot,
Thank
by
you.
the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.